In the quiet village of Elmshade, surrounded by hills and endless green fields, lived a girl named Ariana Vale. She was known for her curious heart and fearless nature, while other people feared the dark woods beyond the village. Ariana always felt strangely connected to them. The villagers often spoke about the forest in whispers. They said the trees remembered every soul that entered. Some claimed mysterious lights danced between the branches at night. Others believed a lonely spirit wandered there forever. But Ariana never believed the stories. To her, the forest felt alive in a beautiful way. One cold autumn evening, as golden leaves drifted through the air, Ariana walked deeper into the forest than ever before. The sky slowly darkened and the sound of birds faded into silence. A soft mist spread across the ground, curling around her feet like smoke. Still, she continued walking. After several minutes, she noticed something unusual. A small cabin stood between the trees. She had never seen it before. The cabin looked old, covered with vines and moss, yet warm light glowed through its window. Ariana hesitated for a moment before slowly stepping closer. Suddenly, a branch cracked behind her. She turned quickly. Standing in the shadows was a boy, tall, quiet, mysterious. His dark hair moved gently in the wind and his gray eyes seemed almost unreal beneath the moonlight. Ariana's heart skipped. The boy stared at her silently before speaking in a calm voice. "You shouldn't be here." His name was Kael Rowan. Ariana didn't know why, but something about him felt different. "Not dangerous, just lonely." "I could say the same to you," she replied softly. For the first time, a faint smile appeared on Kael's face. That night changed everything. Over the following days, Ariana secretly returned to the forest again and again. Each evening she found Kael waiting near the cabin as if he already knew she would come. Sometimes they walked silently beneath the trees. Sometimes they talked for hours. Kael told her stories about stars, forgotten kingdoms, and hidden lakes deep inside the forest. Ariana had never met someone who spoke the way he did. Every word sounded like poetry, but there was always sadness in his eyes. One evening, while rain tapped softly against the cabin roof, Ariana finally asked him the question she had been holding inside. "Why do you live here alone?" Kael looked away. "For some people," he whispered, "the world outside becomes impossible to return to." Ariana didn't fully understand, but she felt his pain, and slowly, without realizing it, she began falling in love with him. Days turned into weeks. The forest no longer frightened her. Instead, it became the only place where she truly felt alive. Whenever Kael smiled, her heart raced. Whenever he disappeared into silence, she missed him deeply. One night they sat beside a small fire outside the cabin while thousands of stars shimmered above them. The cold wind moved through the trees. Kael looked at Ariana carefully. "Why do you keep coming back?" he asked. Ariana smiled softly. "Because every time I leave, my heart stays here." Kael froze. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then slowly he reached for her hand. The moment their fingers touched, Ariana felt warmth spread through her entire body. It was the first time she realized this wasn't just friendship anymore. It was love. Real love. But happiness never stays untouched forever. The next morning, Ariana overheard villagers talking about the forest again. An old man warned everyone never to go near the woods after sunset. "They say a cursed boy lives there," he whispered, "a soul trapped between life and death." Ariana's chest tightened. That night she rushed into the forest searching for Kaeli. When she found him standing beside the lake, she immediately asked, "Who are you really?" Kael stayed silent for a long time. Then finally, he spoke. 20 years ago," he said quietly, "there was an accident in this forest. A fire destroyed everything nearby. I was supposed to die that night." Ariana's breathing slowed. But somehow he continued, "I survived, though not completely." The wind around them suddenly grew colder. "The forest kept me here." Ariana stared at him with tears forming in her eyes. "You were lying." "I wish I was." Kael looked heartbroken. "I can never leave this place, Ariana." For the first time since meeting him, fear entered her heart. But even then, she couldn't stop loving him. Days passed in confusion and pain. Part of Ariana wanted to run away from the forest forever. Another part could not imagine life without Kael. Finally, one evening she returned to him. Kael stood beneath the silver moonlight, looking as lonely as ever. Ariana walked toward him slowly. "I don't care what you are," she whispered. "I only care about how I feel when I'm with you." Kael's eyes filled with emotion. "You deserve a normal life." "Maybe," she said softly, "but my heart chose you." For a moment the entire forest became silent. Even the wind stopped moving. Then Kael gently pulled her into his arms. Ariana closed her eyes as his heartbeat echoed against her chest. And in that moment, nothing else mattered. Winter slowly arrived. Snow covered the forest like white silk, and the world became quieter than ever. Ariana continued visiting Kael every day despite the freezing cold, but something strange began happening. Kael started growing weaker. Sometimes his hands turned cold like ice. Sometimes his body faded slightly in the moonlight. Ariana became terrified. "What's happening to you?" she asked one evening. Kael looked toward the dark trees. "The forest is changing," he whispered, "and it's slowly letting me go." Ariana felt tears roll down her cheeks. "No?" Kael smiled sadly. Maybe this was always meant to happen. But Ariana refused to accept it. For days she searched through Old Village. Books and forgotten? Stories trying to find a way to save him. Finally, she discovered an ancient legend. It said the forest only released cursed souls when someone loved them truly enough to break you, the loneliness holding them there. Ariana immediately returned to Kael. Snow fell heavily around them as she reached the cabin. Kael stood outside waiting for her. "Weak, fading." "Ariana," he whispered. She ran toward him. "I found a way." Kael shook his head gently. "It's too late." "No," she said firmly. "Listen to me." Her voice trembled as tears filled her eyes. "I love you." The words echoed through the silent forest. "I loved you from the moment I saw you standing in the shadows, and I'll keep loving you no matter what happens." Kael stared at her as if time itself had stopped. Then suddenly, a powerful wind moved through the trees. The ground beneath them glowed faintly. The forest seemed alive. Ariana held Kael's hands tightly as light slowly surrounded him. For the first time, warmth returned to his skin. The shadows around his body disappeared. Kael looked shocked. The curse was breaking. The forest that had trapped him for years was finally letting him go. Ariana cried with happiness as Kael gently touched her face. "You saved me," he whispered. "No," she replied softly, "love saved you." As dawn slowly rose above the trees, the forest no longer felt haunted. It felt peaceful, alive, and for the first time in many years Kael walked beyond the edge of the woods beside Ariana, together, not as strangers, not as lost souls, but as two hearts who found each other in the middle of darkness. And from that day forward, whenever villagers spoke about the mysterious forest, they no longer called it cursed. They called it the place where love defeated loneliness.